Welcome to episode 122 of the Epilogue Lady podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband, my oldest son and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. There is also a Ko-fi page where you can support me and the podcast. And everything is linked down below. Today is a really nice day. We had rain this morning and now the sun is shining, so it's absolutely perfect for this time of, I'll call it summer, because here we don't actually basically have spring. It's sort of winter and then about a week, maybe 2 weeks of sort of spring, and then it's suddenly summer. That's how it works here. Everything happens in a short period of time and it's really, really intense. So the birch pollen is in the air at the moment, and that's one of the pollens I am allergic to. So if I'm sounding a bit clogged up, that's why. And that was my mobile phone. I forgot to put it on silent. Hopefully we won't be too interrupted by strange sounds. As I said, beautiful day today. We have had days with more over 20 degrees centigrade and it feels like summer. I'm not going to get any summer flowers for the garden yet because we can still have nights with below 0, I think. So I'm going to be careful doing that. That was one of the things I had to get used to moving here, that I had to wait longer before I started planting summer flowers in the garden, because we can have nights of frost in June, basically. That's what I'm going to start with, I think. I haven't got a lot of other stuff to talk about at the beginning of the podcast. For admin stuff, I'm not wearing knitwear today because it's a bit too hot. And if you hear a sound in the background, that's the air conditioning. I'm not going to turn it off for the podcast this time because it's basically too hot for me to do that. I will start by talking a bit about make-alongs because I have 3 make-alongs running at the moment. I have a fluff to stuff, the year-long make-along. I'm going to show you one of the prices later. Because I have the second price drawing of the fluff to stuff, because I do quarterly price drawings, is at the end of this month, the 30th of June. That's when I'm going to draw the second prize for the fluff to stuff. I might do 2 prizes this time, depending on how many people have posted stuff in the Ravelry thread. I'm doing an Instagram drawing as well for that, but I'm doing that at the end of the year because not a lot of people are using the hashtag. So at the moment I don't have a lot of entries to choose from on Instagram. So I think I'm going to do 1 Instagram prize at the end of the year. I also had a make-along start on June 1st, the Arctic Summer of Socks, and that's running until the 31st of August. And the rules are the same as every year. Adult socks, shorties, are okay. Whips are allowed as long as you haven't started the second sock. And that means if you have a second sock syndrome, like some of us do, if you have single socks lying about that you haven't started the second sock, this is a brilliant time to do exactly that. Just cast on and finish the second sock and you can enter that into the Arctic Summer of Socks. There will be a 1 prize drawing this year and it will be at the end of August, but I will be doing 3 prizes for the Summer of Socks. Maybe 4, depending on how much yarn I have time to dye, if I get any prize donations, stuff like that. But I think I might be doing 4 prizes. I have plenty of time to dye up yarn, so I'll be dyeing up yarn myself as prices for that. As I said, unless I get price donations. I have plenty of undyed yarn still, so it's just a matter of dyeing it. But now that I'm working Tuesdays and Thursdays, I only have 1 day a week basically where I can dye yarn, and that's Wednesdays. And to be honest, can't be bothered every Wednesday, depending on how exhausted I am after work on Tuesdays, basically. So that's the Arctic Summer of Socks. Have I forgotten to mention anything for that? No, that's it. All crafts are welcome, of course. It's a make-along. If you want to crochet socks, feel free. And the third make-along that's running at the moment is the Tea Time make-along. And that's also ending at the end of June. Why am I say also? That's the only make-along ending at the end of June. So I'm drawing the prices July 1st, and I'm closing the thread on June 30th. And the main price for that will be 2 skeins of yarn dyed by me. And I'm thinking about doing a peach, because apparently Pantone's color of the year is peach fuzz. So it's trending. So I'll probably be dyeing up a peach as a price for the Tea Time make-along. So that will be the grand prize, and I'll be maybe dyeing up more yarn for that. We'll see. I might go into stash as well to find prices. I haven't had any price donations so far, so I haven't got a lot to choose from. But I have some yarn put aside for a D-stash. I might just pick stuff out of there. So, and then I co-host a podcast. I co-host make-along, Shop the Stash make-along. And that's with Sue and Liz from Distant Stitches and Alex from our Yarny Corner. And that's just what it sounds like. Make a project out of yarn you already have in stash. It has to be bought last year, I think was the rule. Any yarn you bought last year, you can, and that's an Instagram only make along. And we draw prices every now and then. I don't have a set timetable. Maybe that's the wrong word. Sorry, my brain isn't working today. I don't have a plan for when I draw prices. I just draw a price every now and then. I might do handspun for that. Or I might do bags, depending. But because it's Shop the Stash, that would be, of course, a perfect thing to use my own stash for prices, I mean. So, and I was telling you, I was showing you one of the prices for the fluff to stuff this time. I might be doing 2 prices. I might just be doing fiber. I have some, I'm going to show you some handspun in finished objects that also might be used as a price. But this is the fiber I dyed up. I dyed up some more of this that I'm spinning up myself. And this is what it looks like on the bobbin. This is the first bobbin. I'm going to fill another bobbin and then ply it. I dyed up 250 grams of this stuff for myself. I've prepped the fiber, and this is Cheviot that I bought from Spinwilt. This braid is 100% Polworth, or maybe I already said that. And this is one of the prices for this quarter's price draw in the fluff to stuff. I finally figured out a way to put it together in a nice way. I braided it and I put on a yarn band, so it looks sort of professional. So that's one of the prices. I haven't decided on the second price, but probably some fiber from Ulve. So that was That's what I was talking about at the beginning. And let's talk knitting. I actually have an FO. You've seen these as work in progress. And it's my husband's Scrappy quilt socks. The pattern is by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. They're a bit too long for the blockers. And the yarn is the DM's library collection by Chromatic Yarns, Hannah of Corner of Crafts. And every color is inspired by the cover of one of the books you should have in your collection. We don't have all of them, but Hobby does a good job being a DM anyway. But because he is our resident dungeon master, these socks are for him. And they're really nice and squishy. So I really love this pattern. I'm probably going to do more socks in this pattern, but I'll be doing a solid next time, I think. Or maybe a self-striping, but I'm not sure the self-striping will look good if the color changes in the middle of a pattern repeat. So I might just do a solid instead, or a variegated. The light is doing things because the sun just disappeared behind the cloud. But that's what happens in summer, when you have an entire wall just that consists only of windows. I have no place to hide where I don't have light in the windows. Unless I go in the bedroom, of course. But I don't want to do that. It's warm. So that was that FO, and I have some spinning FOs. Or I haven't soaked and snapped these yet, but I'm done the spinning. This is from Ulvey. It's merino and glitter, and the glitter, I can see the glitter, but it doesn't show on camera, I think. So this, I'm going to soak and snap this. I'm really excited to see the yardage of this. Depending on the yardage, I might do a muscle bra. We'll see. I started with 200 grams for this. I bought 200 gram braids of this because I wanted some yardage. And this isn't soaked or snapped either. This is the fiber was dyed by me. It's a 2-ply, and I can tell it's a fingering weight. I had not sure about how many meters, but I'll find out. And this is probably going to be a price. I have enough pink yarn. It's so much fun to dye and spin, but I have enough pink yarn. So this is probably going to be a price. And I'm not sure, the most logical thing to do is using it as a price for the fluff to stuff. On the other hand, people participating in the fluff to stuff probably already have their fair share of handspun in their stash. Some of you at least, not the newbie spinners perhaps. So I might use it as a price for any other make-along. You tell me, would you? Do you think handspun is okay price for the fluff to stuff? If you are spinning something yourself that this matches, you could use it for a contrast color perhaps. So that's my second spinning FO. And as I said, it's not polite talking to you while I'm not in the frame. I have things everywhere around me, so I will be disappearing from frame from time to time, so you can get a proper view of the mess behind me. And yes, that's snip. So that was my FOs. And when it comes to works in progress, I only have one that I'm actively working on, when it comes to knitting, that is. And it's my Rocket Tee. I'm knitting this out of handspun. The fiber is Coastal Colors. I bought it at Unravel. And this is going to be a warm t-shirt, so I'll probably use it over long sleeve t-shirts in winter. I think it's going to be too warm to wear. Maybe early spring, but I'm going to save it for using it as a vest of sorts in winter, I think. The fiber is merino. Of course, he's been so calm and collected all morning, and when I start recording, he goes ballistic. I started a bit later than normal today because, as usual, I forgot to charge the camera yesterday, so now I put an alert in my phone for the Sunday before I'm recording. Remember to charge your camera. And over to something completely different. That was a tangent. This is what I have left of the yarn. And I was hoping that this was enough, because I have 2 more skeins. But I was hoping I didn't have to start these, because that means I would have some leftovers. These I can use as prices, but if I have to use those 2 skeins, so be it. I will have leftovers that I can put in a crochet blanket or something. So that was my knitting whip, and as I said, I'm spinning the second bobbin of this, and this is Cheviot. And I think Cheviot it's an interesting texture. It's sort of, it's almost like it's curly, but it has really nice grip, so it's really easy to spin. So I recommend Cheviot if you haven't tried spinning before. Of course, it gets a little more grippy after I dye it. Undyed fiber is smoother, and I prefer dyeing. I prefer spinning dyed fiber as of yet. Maybe I'll just change my mind when I'm getting better at spinning. I have been spinning undyed Corriedale because I wanted to ply something with undyed. But other than that, I prefer spinning dyed fiber. And speaking of dyeing fiber, I wanted to show you my last delivery from Spinvilt. This is Southdown, and it feels really soft. And I decided to try this. I want to go through as many breeds as possible. I'll explain a bit about that afterwards. But when we went to Lewis to meet Leslie, when we went to Brighton, we went through the South Downs, and that's where this breed of sheep were born, so to speak. The reason why I'm going to dye up this, I have some more here. I have another batch of Cheviot from Spinvilt, and then I have something here, Dorset Horn, that feels a bit more toothy. This I might actually try to spin undyed. Half of it undyed and the other half dyed, and then apply it to get the barber pole effect. We'll see. So that's, and the reason why I'm buying all these different breeds of sheep is I'm going to participate in the Tour de Fleece this year. I'm not the right person to tell you all about Tour de Fleece. I don't have all the rules, as there's no prizes involved unless you participate in particular groups. It's more of a challenge yourself thing. And it runs while the Tour de France is running, basically. It's called Tour de Fleece. So you're supposed to spin while they are cycling. I won't be that particular about it, but I'm going to, in the time frame of Tour de France, I want to spin at least 5 different sheep breeds. I won't spin the sheep. Fiber from 5 different sheep breeds. And I have Corriedale, I have Polworth, I have Cheviot, I have Dorset Horn, and I have Southdown. I have some Targhee as well, but I'm not going to do anything about the Targhee because it's so precious. It's from Canada, but I have a lot of it. I have 1.5 kilos of Targhee. So basically I have enough for 2 sweaters because 500 grams of fiber isn't enough for a sweater, in my experience at least. But I'm also thinking maybe I can get a sweater out of 500 grams when I get better at this. And I haven't checked, but I think it's comb top, so I still can't do long draw. Because I figured that if you're going to do long draft, you have to use roving. Because I tried long draw and it wouldn't work, and then I discovered that comb top isn't suitable for long draw. So I'm going to, I've been thinking, it's three bags, 500 grams in each. And I've been thinking I might just do 500 grams times 3, then dye it in 3 different colors. And basically if I might, then I of course can do a stranded pattern or striped. But to make sure that I have enough for a sweater, I need to do 750 grams of one color, I suppose. But I'm working on, it's behind me. This is Teeswater, and I dyed up 500 grams of this. And I'm going to see if I can make this into a sweater. I know I have enough for a ranunculus, but there's a limit to how many ranunculuses I can knit. I love knitting them, but we'll see. So that's my spinning whips and a little tangent about Tour de Fleece. So I'm also going to dye up fiber, of course. I'm going to dye fiber and spin fiber during Tour de Fleece. I don't want to dye up everything beforehand. That would mean I would be rather busy, because I think Tour de France is starting at the end of June, middle of June. I should be checking the dates for this, because I'll put it up at the end of the screen in case you're also doing Tour de Fleece and you're wondering, but we have until the end of the women's Tour de France, and that's afterwards. So we have more than just the Tour de France. So I'll put up the dates for the Tour de Fleece on screen so you can see. And then that's what I had for crafting. I haven't done any other crafting. I've just been spinning, dyeing fiber and knitting and working, of course. We haven't done anything exciting when it comes to life stuff. We went out for dinner, the 3 of us, with some friends, and that was nice. I wasn't quite sure that I really wanted to, because it was last Thursday and I was working on Thursday, and I spent 4 hours with lots of people around me, and I was exhausted when I got home. But because it was a place I'm used to being and I knew everybody that was going, I went along with it, and I was so pleased when I got home because I really enjoyed myself. I even had a cocktail in the hotel bar afterwards, and I slept. I was so exhausted when I got home that I had no trouble sleeping. at night. So just shows that we have something in Norway that we call dørstokkmila. And directly translated, it's something like the threshold mile. And you probably have a saying in English that means the same thing. The thing that it feels like a big task getting something done. You feel like if it's going for a walk, doing something else, that when you just start doing it, it's no problem. But it feels like you're not going to manage it before you actually start it. That was really a bad explanation, but I think you know what I mean. It's sort of procrastination in a way, I guess. And but it's this thing where you feel like I can't manage something, and then you just push on and do it anyway, and then you can't figure, why didn't I want to do this? Because it was no problem. So for me, it's often manifests itself when it comes to going for a walk, because I have to change clothes and I have to put on SPF, because I need to use SPF 50 for any part of my body that's exposed to the sun, because I had carcinoma, and it's not malignant as such, but I have to use SPF 50. So that's adding to it in summer. But as soon as I get out and start walking, I feel great, and I feel so great afterwards. But after I sprained my ankle, the beginning of May, my ankle still isn't all that great. I bought a brace eventually, so I'm wearing a brace on my ankle, and that makes me a bit more confident. But it was so painful, I'm so scared of doing it again. I still can't go uphill basically without it hurting. I can walk for several kilometers from our house and not go uphill, but it's so boring, because then I have to walk along the main road, and that's so boring. But I'm taking it easy because my youngest son is coming here for his summer holidays, and he really loves hiking and walking. So I plan on taking him walking in the woods, and then I'm going to walk uphill and off-road and everything. So I should probably treat my ankle with care, so I can be positive that I can walk wherever without it hurting. Can't think of anything else. That's typical. Probably stuff has happened that might interest you, but or not. Speaking of, as I'm doing this all the time, because I haven't gotten used to having this long hair. For you, this probably isn't long, but for someone who's had short hair basically most of her life. I've had long hair in periods, and then I've just chopped it off. And I booked an appointment at the hairdressers the beginning of this month, with the plan of chopping it off again and having short hair. Because one of the reasons is it gets so hot in my neck with this hair. On the other hand, it's basically finally long enough for a ponytail, so I can put it up this summer. And everybody tells me, people I work with, tells me, please don't cut your hair short. You look good with that hair. And I struggle getting used to what I see in the mirror, because it doesn't feel like me, but I love the hair, my color. I love the color my hair is now. So it's gray, but in my eyes, I'm finally blonde, if you know what I mean. I know it's grey, and I'm probably delusional, thinking it looks blonde, but I love the color it is now. And when your hair turns grey, it's sort of more, it's got more body, if you know what I mean. So it feels fuller than it used to do. So I really want to grow it a bit longer. So I think I've decided not to cut it short. I'm just, and I was considering having a fringe, but I don't. I think all I'm going to do at the hairdresser's is ask her to just take a bit of the ends, and so I can keep it, I can let it grow a bit further. So it's not going to be a big change. So the next time you see me at the end of June, I won't be short. I won't have short hair. At least I don't think so. I might change my mind. My appointment is June 7th. So I still have... that's basically this Friday, come to think of it. So I don't have a lot of days to change my mind. I have to change hairdresser as well, because my hairdresser has stopped, has closed her business. And I had to change hairdressers, and it's almost as difficult as changing your dentist. But she sounds really nice, so hopefully we're going to agree on what to do. I know it's my hair, but I'm sort of a people pleaser, so I tend to go along with people's suggestions. So that's happening this Friday, and my next podcast will be June 30th, because as I told you last time, I'm going to do podcasts once a month from now on, because I feel exhausted a lot of the time, and I'm not doing a lot of knitting or stuff, so I feel like I don't have a lot to talk about. I can't just talk about life stuff, that would be sort of a vlog. And I'm not doing that at the moment. I might do Vlogtober. I haven't decided about that yet. And I might actually take the summer off, so I'm not doing... I don't think I'm going to do a podcast at the end of July. I'll see about it if I get a lot of crafting done, so I'm not saying I'm not doing it as of yet. But I will have decided on that at the end of June when I'm doing my next podcast. I don't have any make-alongs ending at the end of July or anything, so I don't have anything important to talk about. So I might just not do a podcast at the end of July. Just take a summer holiday. My youngest son will be here. It will be difficult for me to film a podcast. I would have to go in the bedroom to record. So basically I just talked myself into not doing a podcast at the end of July. One more podcast before I go on summer holiday, in other words, and that's June 30th. That's it, I think. How long are we going? Almost 40 minutes. So hopefully there will be at least 30 minutes left when I'm done editing. So I always edit stuff out when I'm doing these, so the editing takes much longer than the recording. I don't think I've ever recorded a podcast where I didn't have to edit anything. Most of the time it's because I'm babbling, so I'm cutting out some tangents. But I think that's it for this time. I've told you about the make-alongs. I've told you, I'm not sure I told you, but the Rocket Tea is Tanis Fiber Arts, in case I didn't tell you the designer for that. And that's it. I'll link the... I'll put the links down below for Spinbuilt, where I get all my undyed fiber. So you can... I'm not sure, I don't think they ship abroad, but you could figure that out, I guess, if you contact them. but they have loads of different breeds. Some breeds sell out faster than the others. I've been wanting to get some Wensleydale, but they've been sold out. So, but they have this system where you can put something on a wish list and then you get notified when it's back in stock. So I've done that with the Wensleydale. So I'm hoping I can get my hands on some Wensleydale as well. And I like that they send it out in 250 gram packets, because 250 grams, that's quite a bit of, you can get quite some, because basically this is 125 grams, more or less. So when I'm done plying, I'll have 2 bobbins, or a bit more than 2 bobbins actually. So that's enough for a shawl or something. And if I dye up the other cheviot I bought in a color that matches that, maybe semi-solid of one of these colors, I can use it in the same project, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I have to check how many meters I get out of this first, if that's enough for a project. If not, I might perhaps do a stripes by Andrea Maury in 2 colors in cheviot. We'll see. So I don't think I have a lot of other things to talk about. Hopefully something interesting will happen between now and on June 30th. I'm not holding my breath now, though, because it sort of goes, it's the same thing. I'm spinning, knitting, dyeing fibers or yarn, and I'm working. And that's it. We're not planning on going anywhere, so hopefully I have done a bit more spinning and knitting, because I have a month before I talk to you again. And that will be, as I said a million times, June 30th. And remember to post your projects on Instagram for the make-alongs, because I will be drawing prizes on Instagram as well. And Fluff to Stuff, Shop the Stash, Tea Time Mal, and Arctic Summer of Socks. So hopefully you want to join us and knit along on any of those. So I'll see you in a month. Bye bye.